Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies and we go as guided. And really, at this moment, February 2024, we should really say that we're looking at these profound and epic energies because they are life-changing and they are literally once in a lifetime. It is the first time in approximately 246, 248 years that Pluto is in Aquarius. And all of the personal planets, Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, they are all conjuncting kind of in a row like this. I believe it's as Pam Youngins will say here in a minute on that it's this parade of planets that is like one after the other. And Pluto denotes change. It represents the underworld. It represents death. It represents this and renewal because it's not just about destruction and deconstruction. It is about bringing and raising things up so that we see them, so that we move forward, so that we empty our vessel, cleanse, and move forward. And welcome, Alicia. Welcome, Olivia. So let's jump in because there's so much and I'm so mindful of the time. So let me just bring up, I'm going to show our current energies as we leap into this. So it's February 7th. It's our first show in the month of February in this epic energy of change. And while the new year, of course, starts January 1st, it's really starting now in February. And so we have February being represented by the feminine, the receptive. It's to reflect, it's to see all of this. 7, army, correct discipline. Again, going as guided, knowing that we have everything we need and to do so in a proper manner. The 2024 is an 8 all year long. This is about uniting and coming together. And from the inside out. And while the world, yes, Pluto is wreaking its havoc for us. This is about for us, not to us, but for us. And so this uniting and this unite coming together is from the inside out. It is to break apart anything that doesn't serve you so that you unify, you unite internally, and this ego, mind, body, spirit, soul, personality, all of it coming together, breaking it apart, bringing it back together. They're giving me the image of if you've ever watched taffy being pulled, it's really quite, it can be stretched to the thinnest string and then it comes back together and it forms a new shape. So this is what's happening. And then all of it, the 2, the 7, and the 8 becomes a 17, which is about this beautiful 17. Follow, be led, show by example. And this is what we're being called to do. We are being called to reach the highest arc of ourselves, our soul, source, connection, soul self. And so it's about following on high, the wisdom of your soul, the soul GPS, the source GPS, and then lead, show by example. And then, of course, it becomes an 8. So we have double 8s, this doubling down on this uniting, this unite, coming together. Now, right behind this, in concert with us, I'm going to bring up the astrological influences. Those are the main energies. Now we're going to look at the astrological influences. And what's so amazing here is, so remember on the 20th of January, Pluto entered Aquarius, 0 degrees, for the first time. I mean, it's been there over the last, it's been ebbing back and forth, and you'll see how this plays. But now it's officially, it's gonna reverse just ever slightly towards the latter third of the year of 2024. But then it's officially as of like November 17th, 19th, or 9th, or somewhere in that neighborhood, it officially moves for the next 20 years. So then Monday, and the dates, Mercury, so on the 5th/6th, depending on where you are, they're going to bridge. If you're on the west coast of the United States or anywhere further west, it's occurring on the 5th. If you're going towards the Europe and everything, it's on the 6th. But Mercury then conjunct Pluto. So that was Monday slash into Tuesday. On the 9th, coming up Friday, is our Aquarius new moon at 20 degrees Aquarius. The next day, Saturday, 210, is the Lunar New Year, and it launches the Wood Dragon at 21 degrees Aquarius. Then on the 13th, next week, we have Mars conjunct Pluto. Then right behind it, on the 17th, we have Venus conjunct Pluto. And then further out, we've talked about on March 20th, we have Jupiter conjunct Uranus. Big deal. So look at this. It's like a it's like a car pileup, and yet it's not. It's this, and the word that came, you see the word when I was preparing the slides for the show, and I was doing the astrological influences, putting them all in, and I just heard the word Shazam. And it is our main theme, but it also applies to the astrological influences. It applies to the energies of right now in February that's occurring. And Shazam is used to express or indicate a sudden appearance, transformation, or other occurrence. So this is literally revolutionary. We have used this word a lot. It demonstrates the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, French and American revolutions, Industrial Revolution. So literally the unseen said, Shazam. And it's also associated, it's part of, I believe, Marvel Comics. It's used in that, but it's used in a sense of like magic. So this to express or indicate sudden appearance, transformation, or other occurrences. So be ready, be prepared for, because they're coming one after the other, after the other, after the other this month, and then it's going to set us forward. It's literally demonstrating what's going to arc out over the next 20 years, but certainly because the train's in the station, you know, that vibration of everything occurring right now, you can just feel, I don't know about all of you, but I have felt many in the last week, I have felt like a cat stuck on the ceiling. The energies are just like, you know, and you're just dunk stuck on the ceiling, like, pensive, you know, a little agitated, things of that. Put it in the comments of what the energies that you're feeling. And there's also this sense of, while everything is fine and right, and there's also a sense of worry. It's unfounded and yet necessary. I know that's a little bit of an oxymoron, but these are the energies that are, because there's that sense or worry, like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And yet it's not about that. It's not about another shoe dropping. It's about advancement. And because it's unknown, certainty in the uncertain, there's a feeling of this, of these energies. So I'm going to jump to, we're going to focus on Pluto and Pluto in Aquarius and what's happening. And so I'm going to jump first to this write-up it's from Renee Watt on shondaland.com. Yes, and Olivia has mentioned before we jump into that, hard to sleep due to agitation, and had to use homeopathy. Many people, many people are experiencing sleep deprivation, or you sleep and you feel like, is it really already time to wake up? Or you go to sleep and you wake up and you can't go back to sleep. So this energy, you can feel the intensity of the energy. And before, I'm going to bring up on the screen, because so remember that at the beginning of January, the Magician, card number 1, and the Star, card number 17, and the Master's Journey, 117. And that all year long, and actually moving forward, these cards represent the Magician, manifestation, how we create and manifest in the new. This correct discipline, army, legions, correct discipline. We have everything we need. We have all the tools of the trade. We have our divine nature, divinity. So we have everything. And then here, the Star on the right, and that illustrious, the Star, and how she's pouring Soma, wisdom, the living waters of life, into the land and the waters. So into our consciousness, into our earthly beings, and so forth. And so these are the two cards we're working with overall. And then the overlay is, for February, this moment of transition and transformation. And here on the left of the screen is the death card. It's number 13. It represents Scorpio. It represents Pluto. And the issue, at times, it can mean literal death. But most often, when the death card appears in tarot and everything, it's about transformation. It is about the ending of something and the renewal, the beginning of something. And thus why, on the right side of the screen, is the Sun card. It's card number 19. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10, 1 plus 0, 0, new beginnings. And what you see is the transformation. So you see the old, that which we are meant to let go of, is represented by death. And yet in the distance, it's a white horse, and in the far distance, you see the living waters, you see the two pillars, and you see the sun rising. So it's rising up. And yet what it says is no one, here's like what's representing religion or a bishop or something. Here's the king, the crown, Humpty Dumpty, the crown, the king is laying on the ground. And yet there's a maiden in white with the red roses. There's a child in teal and everything. So in essence, it says that death, transformation, spares no one. It affects everyone. So it doesn't matter your status, your wealth, your title, your position. It does not matter. It is universal law. And then to the right, here's the same. So now here, from the crone or the skeleton in the death card to the ingenue, the fool, the innocent, the child within us, renewed. The white horse is now bridled with the gold medallions and the purple tassels. You see the beautiful mantle, the red mantle, just vibrant. So red, blood, life force. You see a radiant sun. You see all the sunflowers crowning the crown of sunflowers on the infant. And note, this is really important. This is from the Luminous Tarot by Brigitte Ashwood. Note the feminine, the divine feminine of the sun, because the face, the center, the face that appears in this radiant sun is feminine. So again, we've been talking about the return of the divine feminine, the rebirth of the divine feminine, the Aquarian age, matriarchal rule, the beautiful, 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 welcome Terry, the beautiful radiant sun of the divine feminine aspect of the central sun. So bear all of this in mind. We're setting the stage as we come to, again, this is from Renee Watt on shondaland.com, and she's talking about the 20 years in Pluto. Pluto is one of the more intense and foreboding planets in astrology, acting as a representation of death, destruction, and the underworld. It packs a serious punch when active overhead, clearing away dead weight from our personal and collective lives, whether we're ready for it or not. And so remember, first time in 240 some years, this revolution, and Aquarius is about we the people, and it is about technology and advancement. It's a fixed air sign. Astrologers often point a finger at Pluto when the COVID pandemic is discussed, citing a conjunction with Saturn as the catalyst that brought forth widespread illness and major change to our societal structures. In the week of countless infections and casualties, we also found ourselves conducting business differently. We adapted to our new normal. Many found beauty in the freedom that came with more time spent at home, nurturing their family dynamics and personal interests. So as painful as COVID was in the pandemic, it also liberated us. It shook the tree. It shook us at our core. And it woke us up to a new way. Because everything was fixed before. You went to an office. You had to go to work there. This was, you're on the treadmill. It's the hamster on the treadmill. And all of a sudden, everything's being shaken, to its core to wake us up, and people stood back. I mean, we were literally faced with mortality and death and destruction, the breakdown of our systems. And yet, contained within that was our resiliency, was our adaptability, was our willingness to step back and look at ourselves and see how we might move forward in a new way. Pluto's influence isn't restricted to destruction. It also plays a role in the way we come back from such situations, allowing us to transform and evolve. Pluto is the farthest reaching planet in our solar system, and we don't always feel its presence, though it's constantly working from behind the scenes. This is so true. She goes on to say, though this celestial saga is sure to bring forth change on a human scale, the themes will unfold throughout the course of 20 years. Such shifts, this planetary backspin will give us a chance to revisit old structures. So she was talking about here how this was written in 2023, but so in our last, just before it went advancing on January 20th, and she's talking about how that retrograde of Pluto before it officially advanced. And she says, at times we may feel as though we're being dragged toward an outdated and authoritarian past, a yo-yo effect that will hit once more in the fall of 2024. Because remember, it goes back, but it's shaking the tree, it's shaking our foundations. It's not shaking them to say, oh yes, let's go back to our authoritarian, outdated, patriarchal way of life. No, it's shaking the crud out of those foundations to move forward, to shake them loose. And she said, fortunately, we'll have a chance to move forward once and for all on November 19th, 2024. So we're moving forward right now. It's going to retrograde ever so slightly for like 6 weeks towards the fall. And then on November 19th, this is when Pluto makes its final entrance into Aquarius, staying in the sign of the water bearer until 2044. Aquarian energy is cutting edge and inventive, pushing us to progress as a whole society. See, this isn't about the I, the me. That's patriarchal. That's ego, mind, personality. We've had that 2,000 plus year era. This is matriarchal. This is, the mother force, the nurturing, the divine feminine that brings all the babies, brings all the children together. So this is about pushing us to progress as a whole society. We'll be in a unique position to find unity where it matters most, though there will likely be major pushback and conflict before resolution is found. Political triggers may hit more forcefully than usual, though educating yourself on matters that mean something to you can provide an intellectual outlet while helping you find genuine community. See, this is about staying centered, resolute, respond, don't react. We can be positive and proactive in how we advance. We can show up in quote unquote peaceful protest, peaceful presence. It does not have to descend into aggression and chaos and negativity. It can be that you stand for something, not against something. They're two different experiences. They're two different energies when you stand for something versus against something. Consider getting more involved in the betterment of our world, understanding that even the smallest seeds can grow into a massive forest. It's step by step putting it together, piece by piece. It's that song Barbra Streisand and we've had on the show before, because that is one of the main messages with this Pluto Aquarius movement. Now we're going to stay on the theme, but I'm going to move to, this is from Chani Nicholas. She's an astrologer, wonderful astrologer. And she says the new moon in Aquarius. So we're talking about the new moon coming up on Friday. The new moon that occurs on Friday, February 9th at 2:59 p.m. Pacific time is a first in our lifetime event. One among many that have and will be occurring in Aquarius, thanks to Pluto's re-entrance into the sign. As a lineup of planets enter Aquarius, the Sun and Mercury already have, and the Moon will midweek, and Venus and Mars are about to. They're right behind. So we have, as Pam Young, and we're getting to her next. She's calling it a parade of planets, which I loved. They will all be greeted by the Dark Lord, by Pluto. At the top of the week, Mercury makes its conjunction with Pluto. This was Monday into Tuesday. That means that the week begins with some soul-searching conversations, the unearthing of a truth or two, or the deepening of our awareness about a topic that had only been partially unveiled to us. And recall that the unseen has been saying to us, what was unseen will be seen by you. What has been hidden will be revealed. It's about, and let me just go to the first thing that the unseen said while we're doing this. And I'm going to bring up, this is the new moon. So I'm going to bring up the natal chart for the new moon that's occurring on Friday. And when I saw this, normally, if you've been watching the shows, the background has color or something. And all of a sudden, the color went away. And I went to bring it back, and then I stopped because I looked and I went, oh no, it's meant to be this blank white canvas. And the unseen said, a virgin landscape, a blank canvas to begin, renew, anew. And so they're saying to us this February moment, this moment in time, is this virgin landscape, this blank canvas to begin anew, to renew. And then they said, watch your P's and Q's. And I thought, we've heard that. It's an idiom, so I'm just going to bring up really quickly what it means. Mind your P's and Q's is a common English idiom that means be careful about what you say or do. It is often used as a warning to someone who is about to say or do something that could get them into trouble. It is usually used in the social sense of being careful about one's manners, a warning to behave appropriately. Legions, army, correct discipline. The interesting thing about this is they said, watch your P's and Q's, not mind your P's and Q's. Mind is about thought. Watch is about to see, what we see, how we see. And again, Shazam, something occurs, transformation, an occurrence appears. It's something we see. Yes, we will interpret it, we will mentally process it, but first we see it. And so they're saying to us in this moment, the unseen is saying to us in this moment, this is a virgin landscape. It is a blank canvas to begin, renew, anew. Watch your P's and Q's. Watch how you perceive, what your perceptions are, what your beliefs, what you see, because it will influence and color your experience, your perceptions. So let me go back now. I'm bouncing a little bit, but you see how they're tying everything together for us. So Chani Nicholas, and the astrologer, and she's saying, again, at the top of the week, Mercury makes its conjunction with Pluto. That means that the week begins with some soul-searching conversations, the unearthing of a truth or two, or the deepening of awareness about a topic that had only been partially unveiled to us. The references here are about things that are going to be unveiled, things that we will see, we will bear witness to. There is always some accounting to be done with Mercury. And with Pluto, that tally is about the grief, the horrors, or the hidden gems of life and of this world. A Mercury-Pluto conjunction teaches us that when we do not name the difficult aspects of life, the sentiments we harbor deep, deep down, they do not cease to exist. In fact, they often become stronger, more burdensome to schlep around with us. The grief we carry must be articulated so that it might transform us and our understanding of what is possible. This harks so brilliantly to that emptying the vessel. The unseen has said, empty the vessel. And with Pluto and Mercury, our mind, the way we think, speak, talk. So this mind your P's and Q's, but this is about watch your P's and Q's. But here they're saying, you've got to empty the vessel. If there is old goo, the tiger's goo, guck, that is within, and you're not addressing it, you're not letting it out, you're not purifying it, releasing it, it's only going to get louder because we're meant to. We are meant to shift and release this. Because this week's astrology is so focused on Pluto's recent entrance into Aquarius, we can also guess that something will come to light about AI, artificial intelligence, about tech in general, and about our collective reality, or more specifically, about how it's changing. And I'm going to do a video on original intelligence versus artificial intelligence, because again, it is so crucial in this time of advancement, and how the false belief that artificial intelligence is greater or of more benefit than original intelligence. And to be clear, original intelligence is your soul source connection, your intuition, your knowing, your gut, however we want to label it. It is the unseen spirit, source, and symphony, source, God, Allah, Buddha, speaking to us. And that is original intelligence. That is omni everything. She goes on to say, this new moon also sits in a tight square with Uranus. Uranus is revolutionary energy. It's itchy, loud, rude, feral, freedom-seeking, riled up, and ready to break with tradition at any cost. I love that line. This week will be disrupted, and in our face. Perhaps it's a week when we will be the source of someone else's discomfort, awakening, or reinvention. Hopefully, it will be a good mix of both. So again, be mindful. Walk with grace. Walk with care. Because remember, we are changing. This is a 246-year change. And the train is in the station, the vibration, and all of these planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, are all conjuncting Pluto in Aquarius for the first time. So all of our personal planets, our trees, our roots our foundations are being shaken for us, for our benefit. So walk with grace while you go through it, while we go through it. Last but not least is Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. And I'm going to share my screen with all of you. And you'll see how Pam, this beautiful crescent moon, it's getting ready. And she says, the February parade. With Mercury entering Aquarius at 9:10 p.m. on Pacific time on February 5th, we begin a parade of planets into Aquarius. First Mercury, then Mars, then Venus. While this is not a terribly rare occurrence, since the three personal planets do sometimes travel closely together, it carries more significance now. As each planet enters the 11th sign, it will immediately conjoin Pluto in Aquarius for the first time in more than 200 years. That's what makes this so rare. And that's what makes this revolutionary. Pluto, although demoted to dwarf planet status by astronomers a few years ago, has never been similarly downgraded by astrologers. And we're talking about, remember, creation was divided into three: the heavens, the waters, and the underworld. And so I said a few shows back that I don't subscribe to this dwarf planet status of Pluto, because how can it be? It's one third of. It's an equal 1/3. And it plays its role for us brilliantly. Its influence, in contrast to its size, is among the most powerful of all the planets. It functions as a catalyst for major change, acts as a psychotherapist in revealing that which has been hidden, serves as an agent of detoxification, and, as god of the underworld, facilitates a process of death and rebirth. And here she mentions only rarely a literal death. So there is this piece of the fact that we must appreciate, it is to our highest and best good to appreciate the purge, the death and the rebirth, the emptying of the vessel. As Mercury the messenger and Pluto align on Monday this week, We can expect conversations to be more intense, opinions more entrenched. Aquarius is a fixed sign. It's a fixed air sign, and information more revealing than usual. The mind is focused like a laser upon that which has been intuited, but was not conscious until now. So the mind, so our ego, mind, personality, our mind, like a laser, is focused like a laser upon that which was intuited, has been intuited, but was not conscious until now. So we've had knowings. Everyone, doesn't matter which side of the polarity you're on, which side of the pole you're on. We have discussed this. Everyone's aware of what's occurring. Welcome, Sue. Welcome, Colleen. Everyone's aware of what's happening because it's subconscious, it's intuited, and yet now it's happening. We will also want to watch Pluto's alignments with Mercury, Mars, and Venus this month for clues as to the longer-term intentions of its 20-year transit of the sign of the water bearer. And remember, the star, the water bearer, the waters, the soma, the living waters. Then she's talking here, Pam Youngins with North Point Journal is talking then about electric new moon. The sun and moon align at 2:58 p.m. Pacific time this Friday, February 9th, when both luminaries reach 20 degrees 40 arc minutes of Aquarius. A new moon always encourages us to start anew, but this particular lunation insists that our new also be authentic, original, progressive, and self-determined. This is about this, like the pandemic, which was the beginning of this. We are being called forth. We are being called. And I'm going to bring up, it's one of our, interjecting here, it's our first quote. And it says, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And you see this rooster, you see the sun rising from behind the rooster. And what, I'm just going back to my notes here really quickly so I can, so there's an aspect here where this comes from, this quote is based on Romans 8:30-31. And those he predestined, he also called. Those he called, he also justified. Those he justified, he also glorified. What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? See, so however you associate with God, with higher source, spirit source and symphony, your soul source connection, the message is clear. We are being called forth, our authentic, true, native, divine selves. No masks, no labels, no egos and agendas, and our native, innate selves are being called forth because they've been justified and they will be glorified. We're meant to be who we truly are. And in order to do that, we as an individual and we as 8 billion souls and humans on the planet must give ourselves permission to be our soul self, our authentic self, to show up that way. Because how else will it ever come about? And as Romans 8:30-31 says, and if God is for us, who can be against us? It's like to have the all that is on your side, within you, amplifying you, giving us a virgin landscape, a blank canvas to begin anew. How can we not succeed? The only way that would occur is if we stay in our limited ego, mind, personality selves. If we believe that we know better, artificial intelligence versus original intelligence. That which we are guided, it comes to us. It comes through us. And we are the custodians of that force, of that wisdom, of that grace and goodness. That's what we're meant to do. That is heaven on earth. Because then we're living the ideal. The ideal becomes the new reality. then we're living it. We're the living embodiment of it. So let's go back to North Point Journal, Pam Youngins. Bring it up, sharing my screen again here. And she goes on to say, these imperatives are due in part because the new moon is in futuristic Aquarius, but also because it is in tight square aspect to eccentric sideways spinning Uranus. And Uranus at 19 degrees 10 arc minutes in Taurus. To motivate us to embrace the new, this Uranian lunation may bring with it sudden or unexpected changes, unorthodox or rebellious behaviors, and perhaps electrical storms or other natural events. You need only look to the West Coast, and California is just being inundated with rain. And rain, living waters, cleansing, and yet there's chaos and destruction and so forth to bring about the new. The ultimate intent is to facilitate breakthroughs. However, we may also need to experience breakdowns first to help us be open to new perspectives and ways of being. Because again, humans, we have this wonderful thing of being creatures of habit, and we like what we like, and we know the beasts we know, and so sometimes, we get hit with the cosmic 2x4 to shake us loose, to say, no, we're going this way now. So watch your P's and Q's and let's go. She goes on to say both Aquarius and Uranus carry highly nervous energy. So a mindfulness, here's that whole thing about highly nervous energy, sleeplessness, cat stuck on the ceiling, this kind of pensiveness and looking over your shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop. So a mindfulness or conscious breathing practice may help and provide good support this week, along with grounding exercises and increasing our intake of electrolytes and fluids. Again, be mindful. Herbal teas, waters, natural things that hydrate and nourish us. Not about caffeine and coffees and alcohols and, spirits, so to speak. Maintaining a neutral perspective, as in, isn't that interesting, can also be helpful. So she's saying here, remember to not be in judgment. Don't sit in judgment. Sit in review. Allow. Watch your P's and Q's so that you can see and receive what you're meant to receive as opposed to what your ego, mind, personality is telling you is happening. They're two different experiences. Your soul will tell you the truth. Your ego, mind, personality can mislead, misdirect, misguide. Lastly, Pam Youngins, she says, remember, too, that the higher octave expression of Uranus is higher consciousness / divine mind. While the square aspect is likely to manifest as challenges or surprises, we can be uplifted by the realization that all that occurs is part of our awakening process. See, this is all about for us. It is for us. And it comes with these changing times and these energies. They come with uncertainty, and yet they come with excitement. Oh my gosh, who might we be? Who might you be when you allow the new you, the soul you, to step forward, to lead? That's authentic nature. And that is the power of these energies, this transformation, this death and rebirth, this Pluto in Aquarius. I'm going to bring up, because it plays to one of the, so here is our main theme, Shazam, a whole new world. So a virgin landscape, a blank canvas, a whole new world. And of course, this harks to the image is of a magic lamp, a genie's lamp. And it harks to Aladdin and this, a whole new world. And the magic that is created when we believe. And so, and you see like the image of the background is like the sifting sands of time. And yet they're illuminated like through the sandstorm and through the mists of the sand is the light. It's illuminating the darkness. And our mantra is resilience under adversity. And these beautiful purple, deep purple, I believe they're a form of tulip. They're just beautiful. The mantra is resilience under adversity, because remember, it's a death and rebirth. So there's adversity, there's deconstruction, destruction, chaos. However, equally present, if not more, is resilience. That our life force, our resilience, the sun card, is present. It's where we're moving to. I'm going to go to our last quote, and it says, "Everything is destiny. All things are already complete in oneself." And this is by the master with the I Ching. And you see a globe and a crystal ball, if you will, and it's sitting there. And so, of course, in the circle, in the round, everything is contained. We have everything we need. So everything is destiny. All things are already complete in oneself. So we already have all of this. We already know that this is what's occurring. And this is where we're moving from patriarchal to matriarchal, Piscean to Aquarian, and the advance of and the beauty of that. The second thing the unseen said, it's to be, and they said, what your dreams are made of, and the word "are" is underlined. So what your dreams are made of, hyphen, what are your dreams made of? And I'm going to post this in the show notes on Facebook. You'll see, because the unseen is saying to us, what your dreams are made of? What are your dreams made of? And then they said, a time when, quote, the rubber meets the road. So this is when it gets real. This is when there's no more hedging the fence, and playing both sides and playing each side to the middle and all of this stuff. This is a time when the rubber meets the road. And then I heard the words action, adversity, harmony. The end result is harmony. How you get there, how we get there, that's up to each of us individually and collectively. However, the unseen is saying the end result is harmony. So they're asking you what your dreams are made of. What are your dreams made of? They're making a delineation between them guiding us to see what your dreams are made of. And then, what's your belief of what your dreams are made of? If they're not the same thing, then align them. Bring them into alignment. Surrender what are your dreams made of for what your dreams are made of. They are made of the divine. They are made and crafted and created by your soul in concert with Source, in concert with Spirit, Source, and Symphony, this whole plethora of greatness, of divinity for you, for us, from the other side before we ever arrive. So if your dreams, what are your dreams made of? If they're not in alignment with that truth, surrender anything that's less than that, so that in the most humble way and inspired way and empowered way, of course my dreams are made of this. Of course they are. How could it be otherwise? If God is for us, who can be against us? It's that type of analogy. 3C, the unseen, said, follow the yellow brick road. And of course, in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy she's going to the Emerald City to meet the Wizard of Oz to get back to Kansas, to get home. And along the way, and she has her trusted companion, so it's like the Fool card in the tarot. She has her trusted companion. She has the ruby slippers, but in essence, she has everything she needs. She has every tool. And then along the way, she meets the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, and aspects of self. Pluto represents aspects, the shadow aspects of ourselves. Where are we lacking? Where do we believe we are lacking something? And how do we come into unity, uniting, 8? How do we come into harmony with all of this? And so the unseen is saying, follow the yellow brick road, the Emerald City, because of the wonderful things he does. So we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of the wonderful things he does. So remember, in the Wizard of Oz, the Oz is literally represented by artificial intelligence. It's the Toto pulls back the curtain, and here's the mayor of the Emerald City pushing buttons and levers and blowing out fire and smoke and megaphone and amplifying the voice. Why? Because they were disconnected from their original intelligence. The original intelligence, just like Glinda the Good Witch at the very end, she says to Dorothy, "You've had everything you ever needed. It was with you all along." That's original intelligence. There is nothing outside of us. We have everything we need to effectuate our deliverance, heaven on earth, this life that we want. We simply must go through the process, death and rebirth, Pluto and Aquarius, the deconstruction of our old selves and our old experiences and perceptions and beliefs to empty the vessel to make room for the new. That's most empowering, because that's where the gold lies. Remember, there's gold in these hills. There's gold in this. And this is you. It's us. I'm going to go to, I'm just going to bring up the astrological chart again for a moment to have you look to see. So notice the stellium. A stellium is like a cluster of planets closely conjunct each other. And you'll see them. You see the sun represented by the red with the dots, the circle and the dot in the middle. Just to the right is the blue crescent moon. There's Mercury, and then there's Mars. And then there's Pluto, all in Aquarius. And then to the right of Pluto in the blue is Mars, and then Venus. So you see how Mars and Venus are going to be coming into and conjunct Pluto in the next week plus. And note that you see that, so Pluto is at 0 degrees Aquarius, and then just to the left of it is Mercury at 7 Aquarius. Then Moon and Sun at 20 Aquarius, and then Saturn at 7 Pisces. So this 7-20-27. So there's an interesting, and then note that everything around these 4 planets, there's 2 before it. So there's Mars and Venus, 2 together. You come down into Pisces, it's Saturn and Pluto, there's 2. Then you come further down the wheel, it's Chiron and the North Node in Aries. Then you come down and there's 2, it's Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. And then far on the other side, opposite the wheel, there's 2, but they're not in the same sign. So there's an interesting aspect of these pairs, of pairing up, of coming together, uniting, participating. So unify your ego, mind, personality, and your soul self. See, there's a pair, it's a union, it's a pair, it's a relationship. Your soul self and source, it's a relationship. And the 4, the 7-20-27, the 4 that are next to each other, all in Aquarius, represents foundation. And the unseen said to us, the number 4 is the degree. They said concretization of an ideal with 3 exclamation points. That is the symbol for where Pluto sits, 0 degrees Aquarius. And each one of these personal planets is conjuncting it, is meeting together. Companionship, 2. And it is an old Adobe mission in California, the power inherent in all great human works to endure far beyond the workers' lifespans. The workers' lifespans. And so, and the thing is, this symbol speaks of the projection of a noble ideal into concrete forms of beauty and significance, thus of the radiation of a civilizing power into an institution offering to primitive humankind the opportunity to reach a higher, more organized, and productive level of activity. This is speaking to us. This degree that all of this is occurring at is saying to us there's a noble ideal. The ideal becomes the new reality. This heaven on earth is the ideal, this utopia, this higher octave of humanity, our divine selves versus our human selves, our soul self versus our ego mind personality self. And they're saying that it's a radiation of civilizing power into an institution offering primitive humankind the opportunity to reach a higher, more organized, productive level of activity, to be better, to be our better selves. And this, the symbol speaks to the concretization of an ideal. It's foundational. And then I heard I heard "Looks Like We Made It," and it's the song from Barry Manilow. And it's like, and it says, "It looks like we made it on our way to another love." So it's like, again, it's invoking the fact that while we were in love with what we had before, or who we were before, or what came before, looks like we made it to another love. That we had to release the old us in every way, the old me, I, you. We have to release it in order to come to the new love, because we make it, we get there. And it's the concretization of an ideal. It is perfection. It is, the end result is harmony. And there's many Sabian symbols, and so I'm going to be mindful very quickly of pointing out which ones. With the Aquarius new moon on Friday, Venus sits at this symbol that says, "By accepting defeat gracefully, a general reveals nobility of character." So think about the Piscean patriarchal era. By accepting defeat gracefully, because the time is advancing. There's no clinging to the past. We move forward. A general reveals nobility of character. Noblesse oblige. The nobility, it's mandated, it's expected. It's the peaceful transfer of power. It's expected that nobility, it confers upon nobility the responsibility to peacefully advance, surrender, transfer the baton to the divine feminine, to the matriarchal rule and era, to the Aquarian era. And we can see this playing out on our world stage. The realization that one may grow through defeat as well as perhaps more than through success. While the preceding symbol referred to the drive towards success in culturally organized collective endeavors, this one presents us with the possibility of turning apparent external defeat into an inner spiritual achievement. We have recently seen how totally vanquished nations, Germany and Japan, have leaped forward and achieved great, this is talking about World War II, and achieved great economic success. Much depends on the quality of the will and the inner integrity of the person. At this stage, we find what seems to be a paradox, but the spiritual life is always paradoxical. The great sinner can become the most renowned saint, and a medieval pope a criminal. What matters most always is inner strength. It's inner character. It's about knowing what is conferred upon us. It is about correct discipline, right action. Maria is asking, how do we release? We release by surrendering. Literally recognize When you're in challenge, when and anxiety, challenge, recognize where your energy, the energies are coming from. Is it your ego, mind, personality? Because guaranteed, it's going to be the conflict is between your soul self, your knowing, your intuition, your soul source connection, original intelligence. Your ego, mind, personality is in conflict with that truth. And thereby, how do you release? First, recognize that that's what's occurring. This is my ego, mind, personality. This is fear, anger, resentment, wanting something away. Well, that's an ego, mind, personality act. Then when you still yourself, there's the quiet, there's your soul, true north, saying, your soul source connection saying, here's what is. Here's truth. Here's the purity of truth. Once you recognize that, you'll see the two differences. And then, as Maria's asking, how do you release? By surrendering, by taking that big gulp and surrendering and saying, I see that this is my ego, mind, personality, or the shadow aspect of it that is in conflict with my true north, my soul. And so I can keep battling. I can keep running in circles. I can keep running into walls. I can keep having that experience. Or I can take that big deep breath and release it in that gulp and say, I got it. I'm going to surrender that and I'm going to go as guided. I'm going to walk with my soul, let my soul lead. And all of a sudden it just dissipates. It goes away. And you come back into harmony, grace, oneness, unity. You're united. That's how you release. I want to go, there's one of the symbols I want to find, and it's, and I'm going to post all of these in the show comments on Facebook, and please read them. They're amazing, these Sabian symbols. They're Dane Ruddier from the, and an astrological mandala. It is, here's Saturn, and it says, a girl blowing a bugle, a call to participation in the service of the race as an evolutionary crisis approaches. We're in it. This evolutionary crisis, we're in it. Because again, there's a transfer, there's a peaceful transfer of power, the baton to be handed. This symbolic picture presents another aspect of the emotional relationship between the individual and the collectivity of human beings. So, patriarchal, matriarchal, this, and meaning ego, mind, personality, we the people, soul self. It can also be related to the old feminist movement or the present women's liberation. In traditional symbolism, the woman refers more specifically to the biological and psychic aspect of human life. She is seen primarily as the mother and or the intuitive or psychic type of person, the nurturer, the knowing, intuitive knowing. A new race of human beings may well be slowly unfolding some of its potential of consciousness and fulfillment. So there's this, a race of human beings may well be slowly unfolding some of its potential of consciousness and fulfillment. The individual who envisions this evolutionary development sounds the call. Remember, the rooster. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. He, she, they qualify the called. He or she is both seer, herald, and mutant. In that sense, such a human being is both an individual true to his original nature and a dedicated person, dedicated to the future he or she holds in latency, as does a seed in mutation. At this stage, the two preceding phases blend in a new form of consecration of the individual to the whole. Tomorrow acts through today. It summons man, womankind to rebirth. So this is saying, see, here's the divine feminine, the sun with the divine feminine face from earlier on the slide. She's calling forth, she's trumpeting, she's announcing. And what this is saying is that it's being summoned because it's already within us. It's that aspect that's already latent within us that's being born. And so we're coming to it. Last but not least, mindful of the time, this is where Neptune sits. It's the harvest of the moon illumines a clear autumn sky, the light of fulfillment that blesses work well done. And it says this symbol once more stands in opposition to the one that precedes it, the new moon having now become full moon, indeed the fullest of all full moons. The key word is consummation, the point at which something is complete or finalized. It's the consummation. But in this consummation, this karmic moment, the seed of the new cycle manifestation is already latent of a quality or state existing but not yet developed or manifest, hidden or concealed. So that you can see how these two symbols are saying to us, it's already in us. It's preordained. What God represents is on your side. And thereby, this new is it's contained within us. We have everything we need. And that is the direction that we're headed. That is the direction, that is the moment we're in. And so to leave off, the last thing the unseen said was, because normally there's a 5E, and I was looking and I'm like, and they said, I was seeing the blank page, this blank canvas. Here it is with this natal chart for this new Aquarius new moon. This blank canvas, this virgin landscape. It's pure white, it's pure. And what they said, the unseen said, the blank canvas, the virgin landscape is 5E. It is a whole new world. It is the energies and the realm of existence that we reside in, will reside in. Because again, what we're witnessing, what we're bearing witness to, watch your P's and Q's, what we're bearing witness to is what's conferred upon nobility, the peaceful transfer of power. Period. End of story. Have a nice day. It is not for us to retain it. We are the custodians of it. And we are the custodians of our noble, divine birthright, power, energies. And we are obliged by the divine, by a soul agreement, we are obliged to move forward, to transfer it peacefully, to empty our vessels and release the old, and to make room for and embrace and embody and bring in the new. And why would we not want that? Who might we be when we do that? What might our world be when we do that? So I leave you with that. Thank you all for your beautiful comments and participation and presence. Powerful energies, powerful, powerful time. And I look forward to, until next week, I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, be calm, be safe, and watch your P's and Q's. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you next week.